Hello everyone, and in today's video we are going to go through Google's image generation software. It's called Google's AI Test Kitchen, and I wanted us to start with the same number of prompts. So if for anyone who's new, we are going through the image generating softwares and testing out different styles to know which software is going to be good in what. So we have 11 styles that we are going to go through. The first one is realistic photos, and this is to see how the image generating software is going to handle realism and nature photos, wrinkles in a face photos. And then we're going to have anime, that's going to be our second one. And then after that we're going to have comic book style. After that we're going to have 3D renders, digital art, cartoon animals, vintage, like a 1970s kind of theme, retro aesthetics, that is. And then we have got the minimalistic design, and then we're going to have fantasy, and then we're going to have surrealism, and then we're going to have written text. So the idea is to know which image generating software is going to excel in what. And we have already gone through two, and today we are going to go through Google's AI assistant. So the first series of prompts, the prompts that I am using, I got from Cloud AI, and they are very simple prompts. They're prompts that you can use yourself. I'm going to link them in the description below, and then you can go through and try it out yourself. This is all free. I will show you how to open an account if you do not have one at the end of the video. So right now I just wanted to see what that looks like. The first category that we have when it comes to the styling, it's going to be realistic photos. So let me just zoom in a bit there. And I have to admit that when it comes to realistic photos, Google has done a very good job, because like in the first image, it's not as realistic as I would like it to be, but it does look realistic, especially with autumn, just almost the beginning or the end of it. And then in the second image, I feel like this is one of the closest that we've come to a realistic photo so far. Yeah, this is just, it's very detailed, as you can see. Wow, it looks like a real photo of a person, but from afar you can still tell that it is from an AI generating software. The third one, we have by far one of the best that we've come up with so far, and it's supposed to be a bustling city street at night with neon lights, signs, and rain slickered pavement. It's beautifully shown. The people are not as clear, but still it's one of the best that we've gotten so far, compared to Microsoft Design and also compared to Flux. This is one of the best that we've gotten so far, and it looks really realistic. It almost looks as good as the one that we got with Flux. I feel like this is slightly better because we have people and they have umbrellas. You can see a bit of rain, and also like the fact that people have umbrellas, it's a very good addition to it as well. Overall world building is really good. The people's faces are not as clear, so that's the only thing that I think can be of a problem to most people. But when it comes to realistic photos, I say that Google's AI Test Kitchen does a very good job at it. The second round of category we are going to have is going to be the comic book style, and this is for anyone who's coming up with their own comic books, or they already have a comic book story that they want to tell. So you can use Google's image generating software to produce the kind of comic books that you want. I want you to remember that I am using very different prompts, and you can use your own prompts to come up with your own images, the ones that you want. So the first prompt that I had here was a superhero team posing dramatically against a city background, and it has done a very good job, although they're not necessarily posing. Here it's more of like the front of the comic book, but still it looks pretty good. One of the best, I dare say, that we've gotten so far. This looks like a combination of cartoonish and comic book, so it's like very modern comic. It looks really good. Even when you see in the second image, which is supposed to be an action-packed scene with onomatopoeic sounds, this is only one that it did not necessarily represent what I'd asked it in the prompt, because when it comes to the sound, they were none. There's supposed to be like a sound here, pow or cow, but we did not have that when it comes to Google's AI generating software. This was among the first videos that now we've actually gotten the villains layer, and the minions are not necessarily minions from Despicable Me. So this was a very good addition. It did not necessarily see minions and then just went to Despicable Me minions, but it came up with its own kind of minions, which was what I wanted in this prompt. For me, when it comes to comic books, yes, I would say that it has done a very good job at it. You can definitely use Google's test kitchen to come up with your own comic books. So the third round of category, we're going to have digital art, and this is art that is going to be digitized and not necessarily good art. Hopefully that's going to be produced with the emergence of AI image generating softwares. And I gave it 3 prompts, and the first prompt was a digital art of a cyberpunk cityscape with neon lights and flying colors, which it again has done a very good job. You can see some flying colors. They're actually made to fly. They're not just like a normal car and then it's flying. So I like that inclusion. I think when it comes to art, especially with Google, they've tried, especially with the neon lights, the flying cars, the cyberpunk theme really has been hit home. When it does come to our second prompt, which was supposed to be a digital art of a fantastical creature hybrid combining elements of different animals, I was not going for this. This is like a combination of a gazelle or a deer with a bear and like a unicorn ponytail. So it's not really the kind of combination I was going for, so I will not recommend it when it comes to fantastical creatures like that. But it's still artistically cool. You can come up with your own, trying to figure it out. But so far, when it comes to combining these different elements of different animals, I think it can do better. The last prompt that we had was a digital art of an abstract representation of emotions using bold colors and shapes. And this one, it did do a very good job at it. I think that it really focused a lot on the face, because there's still like a very human face that can be seen from the prompt, from the image that is. I don't really think it did as good of an image as, let's say, Flux or even Microsoft Designer. So I don't think this one cuts it for me. So when it comes to the vintage retro aesthetics, the first image that we had is from a prompt of a vintage image of a 1950s diner scene with classic cars and retro fashion. And it did a very good job at it. It is one of the most realistic images that we've gotten, to be honest. Still looks very clean. It's like from a movie, but again, did a very good job. I think it's definitely one of the best. Did not really spell the word diner well, and then on this other end, the word diner was like flipped upside down. So yes, but also no. When it comes to our second image, we're still with the theme of vintage retro aesthetics. It was supposed to be a vintage 1960s concert poster with swirling patterns, and again, I think it has like the 1960s theme, and it does have the poster theme as well, but it doesn't have any information. There's no, this is where the event is, so that's the only part. It's not necessarily a poster, it's like the template for a poster. So I feel like that's incomplete as as much as it looks really good. For the last image was a vintage image of an art deco inspired travel poster for an exotic destination. Again, very good picture, very good poster. Now that is something that looks like a poster, but when it comes to, for example, spelling, it's still not completely there, but again, really good. Does look like a very cool poster, a very exotic destination kind of poster. It kind of went with that vibe as well, the 1960s vibe. So I like it. I like that one. The other category we have is fantasy art. So this is for anyone who is coming up with your own books, coming up with your own stories, and you like fantasy and you want to see whether or not you can use Google's AI Test Kitchen to produce images for you. I have seen better photos or just better images, especially the ones we did with Flux or the ones even that we did with Microsoft Designer. They were a bit better compared to this one. As much as these ones look good, they are good in a game kind of thing. If you're trying to come up with a game and you want to have the visual of what that's going to look like, the dragon here was spectacularly captured, not as realistic, looks very cartoonish, but you can still build on that as well. And this is a fantasy image of a dragon perched on top of a crystal mountain. At least the mountain was crystal, as much as the around it, the mountains are not crystal. So I like this image, I like this dragon. I wish it were more realistic. I wish the image was more realistic than it is, but as just a fantasy image, I think it has done a very good job at it. When it comes to the second image, this is by far the best image that we've gotten of a fantasy image of an enchanted forest with glowing mushrooms and fairy tales. This is the best image that we've gotten so far. We've done one with Microsoft Design, we've done one with Flux, but this is way better in my opinion. This is better than all of them. This is just, it's beautifully done, beautifully captured. This kind of the image that I had in my head when I first read the prompt. And again, good job with that. So fantasy wise, Google's doing good. Google is doing really good. The third prompt that we have was a fantasy image of an epic battle between wizards with colorful magical spells. Magic spells. I think this is the most realistic image we've gotten. The first image, when the one that we did with Microsoft Design, was very otherworldly-ish. And then the second one that we did with Flux was not as realistic because they were still kind of big and they were little minion wizards. But this one, this is good. This is has done a very good job. You can see the sparks. It looks realistic. It looks like there is a war. There are different sparks. Very good job. It analyzed the prompt, and the prompt was a fantasy image of an epic battle between wizards with colorful magical spells. So I feel like it captured what I wanted in that prompt as best as it could compared to the other image generating software that we've had. This is definitely the best. So when it comes to fantasy, I definitely will give Google a go. I think it is doing a good job. I think there is a place for it to grow, but remember, these are not supposed to be realistic images. I wanted like fantasy ones, and I think it has excelled in it. The other category that we have is going to be anime, and we are still using the same prompts. And the first prompt was a magical girl transformation sequence with sparkles and flowing hair. I definitely feel like it's not as Disney-ish as the one that we got with Flux. Not as good, in my opinion, as the one that we got with Microsoft Designer, but still really good. It does look like anime. And there's definitely like a transformation going on in a way. She looks pretty mad though. Yes, so yeah, I'll give it to that one. The second image is an intense shonen battle with energy blast and dramatic poses. This one, I think it did a very good job. It looks really good. There's a lot of attention to detail, especially like with energy burst, and you can see like streams of light from that. So I feel like that did a very good job with it. Yeah, no, that's good job. The other prompt, the one that we've been using as our third prompt when it comes to anime, was supposed to be a slice of life scene on a rooftop. And when it comes to specifically Google's AI Test Kitchen, it could not be able to produce that. So that is something that does happen sometimes, especially when it comes specifically to Google's AI. I have seen it not be able to produce images, and this is what it usually gives you. There doesn't seem to be anything there. So this is something that can happen to you. That's something that you should know. You can try to change the prompt a bit and see if it's going to give you a different image. I didn't want to change it too much so that we can have like very good to categorize this image generating software. So I did not really want to change that much, so I just did that, which was nothing. When it comes to anime, I definitely think that you can use Google's AI Test Kitchen. It won't be as accurate, but it will give off very detailed images. So the other category that we are going to go through was 3D renders, and this is to see if it's going to be able to produce images that look like they've been rendered in 3D. The first image was supposed to be an interior cockpit of a space shuttle, and we should see holographic images. This is one of the best that we've gotten so far. I still feel like it's not as realistic. Probably it's like a standing interior. There are no seats, but it still looks good. I think it's one of the best that we've gotten, especially following the prompt as much as it has compared to the others. I think this is one of the best. When it comes to the image generating softwares with the bowl of fruit in the 3D render category, I think this is one of the best that we've gotten so far, because we can see the texture in, let me just show you guys. You can see the texture in the bowl. And this is detail. Like, it did not have to do this. It could have just come up with a glass bowl, but it didn't. It came up with a wooden bowl, and you can see like the details in how it's been made. It's honestly really quite beautiful. You can see the changes in light, the different types of fruits there. You can see like the shadow as well, very well lit. Again, this is just one of the best. Even when it comes to the third prompt, which is supposed to be a 3D render of an eco-friendly skyscraper, this is one of the best that we've gotten. It looks very futuristic. I like it. I don't know if that can happen. I don't know if we can have a building like that. We should. But yes, that's one of my favorite images, actually, I dare say. Okay. The other category that we have is cartoon animals. So this is for anyone who's trying to come up with a book, let's say a book for kids, and it's like a cartoon book, and you want to produce your own images, this is going to revolutionize the comic book industry. It's also going to revolutionize the book industry, where people would be able to write their own books, produce their own images, and just come up with way more ways of making money. So this is cartoon animals, and we wanted to see if it's going to be able to produce that. I gave it 3 prompts. The first prompt was a cartoon image of a group of mismatched animal friends having tea at a party. It did a good job. They were mismatched. We have a fox there, we have a rabbit, and then after that we have this thing probably supposed to be a rat. They all have their caps apart from this one. There's an extra cap there, an extra cap. But yeah, still, I think it has done a very good image. The image looks clean, looks definitely like a cartoon. The second image is one of the most cartoonish image we've gotten, very modern cartoonish, but it does look good. You can see the fox, you can see the grumpy bear. It looks grumpy. He's even wearing clothes, so I like that aspect as well. The third image of animal farms putting on a musical performance, very good. I like it. I like it because you can it just went into detail, especially even when it comes to the music. You can see like the musical, are they chords in the air? So it's again really good. When it comes to cartoon, I think that Google's AI Test Kitchen is doing a very good job. The other category that we have was like a minimalistic design, and here we have 3 prompts. The first prompt is a simple logo design using negative space and one color. It kinda has used one color-ish. You can argue that the background color is at least a different shade than this blue, so maybe it's only used yellow. But again, it's a very good logo. I think you can use Google's AI Test Kitchen to come up with logo. This was a good one, prompt it a bit better. But yeah, that looks like a very good. The other prompt that we have was a clean and modern product packaging with minimal text. I think that it did a very good job with this. This is so clean. This is one of my favorite images that we've gotten so far, especially when it comes to just marketing. Remember, there will come a time when you'll be able now to put your brand into the prompt. You can do that with other image generating softwares. It might not really come up with what you want, but that's the goal that you're going with for like stock photos or stock videos. So this is the other one, is an infographics using basic shapes and limited color palette. Again, this is the best that we've gotten so far when it comes to the infographic images over the past 3 videos. You can see the images, different color palettes. It even looks 3D, beautifully minimalistic design. I love it. This is the best image that we've gotten so far. So when it comes to minimalistic design, so far I'm giving Google number 1. Google's AI Test Kitchen is really good at that. So the other category that we have is Surrealism, and this is just basically art, and it's going to have 3 prompts. The first prompt is a melting clock draped over a tree branch in a barren landscape. So in the first image, it looks good. It's one of the best so far, not really what I had in mind. I think Microsoft Design did a better job compared to this one, but this is the second best, if not the first best that we've gotten. So I still like it. There's a barren landscape up to like where there's water, but still it has done a very good job. And then the other image was a person whose head is a cloud and it's like raining. This is perfect. This is what I had. It's not as artistic as one we got with Microsoft Design, but it's still very good. Like, I like the image. I like how it handled the prompt. I wish it could have been a bit more creative, but still it got what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. So yes, after a couple of reruns, probably I'll come up with what I had in mind. I don't think it has been as good as what we got in Microsoft Design, but this is still really good. The third one was a staircase leading to multiple impossible doorways in the sky. This is good. This is actually, I think Microsoft Design handles Surrealism way better than Google's AI Test Kitchen, but it comes in close. This is like the second best that we've gotten so far. It's not like a two-way door where the one we had in Flux. So this is, at least there are multiple doorways, more than 2, and it's in a staircase in the sky. So it looks good. I like it. It knows how to handle the prompt. I think one of the best things about Google's AI Test Kitchen, thinking about it now, is that it really knows how to handle a prompt. When you give it a prompt, it won't be too dramatic with it, it won't be too creative with it. It's going to remain within the confines of the prompt and give you the best image that it can according to that. So good job with this. The last category that we have is written text, and this is like one of the biggest that we have so far when it comes to image generating softwares with AI, is whether or not they can properly spell. When it comes to the first prompt, which was a handwritten note saying the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, I think it handled it perfectly. You can read the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, but it does repeat the word dog here. But there's also a pen. It looks handwritten. Beautiful. And then when it comes to our second prompt, it was a chalkboard with the phrase supercalif. I am not going to spell that. It has done a better job compared to what we've gotten so far. Probably one of the best. At least when it comes to the chalkboard, this is the most realistic image that we've gotten so far. So this is definitely the best. It's better than Microsoft Design, and it's also better than Flux when it comes to written text on a chalkboard. And then the last prompt that we had was a street sign displaying one way straight to one of the longest places in the world by longest name. I did not produce. Again, this can happen with Google's Kitchen. There are times that it will not give you an image and it's just going to go blank. So you can play with the prompt a bit and see if it's going to give you a different image. Now I'm going to show you how you can access Google's AI Test Kitchen. We're going to go to your browser, just click on Google's AI Test Kitchen or Google Test Kitchen, and then AI Test Kitchen, which is like the first one. Click on that link, and then it should take you to the site. And then here you are going to have three options. So just scroll down, and the first option is going to be video effects. This is where you can type in a prompt and it's going to give you a video. And then the second one is image effects. This is where you can type in a prompt and then it's going to give you an image. That's one we're going to use. And then the third one is music effects. And this is where you can type in a prompt and it's going to produce music for you. So for this video, we are just going to deal with image effects. So scroll back up, go to image effects, and then click on launch image effects. When you remix a template here, it's going to just give you a template of an image, and the idea is going to play around with the words, come up with your own version of that image. So for this video, we're just going to click on launch FX. And then once you get to the place now, you can input your prompt, which is somewhere like here. You can input your prompt there and then just click on create. And then when you click on create, you're going to get 4 different options of the same prompt of pictures where you can choose the best. And there we are. So we have 4 images here, and you can choose which image you think best suits your prompt. And once you've chosen it, so for example, I will go with this one probably. So I can either copy the image, download it here, or when I click on this, I'm going to get a way to share the link, or you can even edit the image. Yeah, and that's how you can play around with that image. And after that, so yes, and that is the way that you can get to Google's Test Kitchen and test the prompt out for yourself or come up with your own prompts. So thank you for joining me in this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.